Welcome to Cultivating Authentic Universal Energy, exploring energy through mediumship, psychic abilities, Reiki, crystals, and more. This podcast is created based on the concept that everything is energy, everything and everyone are connected. Your hosts are Lisa Miliaresis and Michele Belcastro. Lisa has written about her psychic medium awakening and is comfortable with many facets of energy. Lisa believes energy work is very exciting and should be embraced in a safe way. Michele grew up as a sensitive, intuitive, and now creates a safe space for community to gather and develop their spiritual talents. Their two unique perspectives are joined to assist listeners of all levels to broaden their understanding. This will be a series of podcasts that will enhance and fine-tune our energetic connections.
Hi there, Michele.
Hi, Lisa.
So I hope all's going well. And we were just talking offline as we kind of about topic that we were going to speak about today. And Michele brought up the wonderful topic of being resilient and how it has come into play in our lives, actually.
Yeah, I don't think we always look at the ups and downs in our lives from the perspective that we can be super resilient. We see other people that are resilient and don't always identify with having that ability. But, looking back at the last few years, there's been so many ups and downs, and I think we've been really resilient.
Quite the survivors. Michele had asked me earlier, what do you think of with yourself about being resilient? And of course, for myself, I thought about my practice, and it hasn't always been easy for me to stand my ground and say, hello, people, I do speak to dead people. It wasn't always accepted. So for me, it was keeping that strength to stay in my power and just do my practice. It's not like I'm planning to change everybody's mind, but I can share what I know or share what I've done through readings or other things and plant the seed of knowledge. And if it's up to them, they will take it on their path and move forward with it. But to Michele's point, everybody at some point in their day and their experience, they need to find resilience somehow in order to move forward. It could be something small or something large, and you just got a huge accomplishment that you've done in your life that took a lot of that resilience, right?
Absolutely. So, in our discussions, we've talked about how I own my own small business and the Violet Butterfly. And I decided that I was going to go to massage school. So I just graduated on the 19th,
Yay.
August 19th. You have no idea.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that experience is over. It taught me so much. It about myself, about other people. And you know what? It did teach me how resilient and unique I am as an individual.
Super. And it's great to have that understanding and, give yourself a pat on the back for that, for sure. We don't do that enough for ourselves.
We don't. And it's funny because I wanted to sort of bring that up. We really shouldn't be looking outside ourselves for validations of jobs well done, because I think it's really important for us to acknowledge our own accomplishments. However, sometimes we need the perspective of another person or our community. So after my graduation on Saturday, there were a few of us that got together for dinner to celebrate my accomplishment. And the one thing that was like across the board was how other people expressed how proud they were of my accomplishment, right? I mean, they've been walking along this whole path with me, watching me struggle through it, watching me worry about the business. But how cool it is for other people to be like, you are a rock star. And
It gives you that
honestly,
that confirmation.
it does. And it also gave me permission to like look at myself a little bit differently. Like, hell yeah, look at what you just did. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So sometimes it is really helpful to have a community around you to support you when you're going through whatever, that helps with your resiliency as well, that
Yeah. I
support.
mean, sure does. People that understand you. Well, law of attraction will usually bring you a little pod of people that will be like-minded. So a lot of times, if you're looking for your community, you just leave it up to the universe to see what you hear. For me, it was always going to a yoga studio to find a community of like-minded people. And I just find that, I would ask, like, where is a good yoga studio? And I would hear the same name over and over again a couple times, and then I would go to it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that holds true, not just for yoga, but for, people, maybe they want to learn how to do Reiki, and they just ask and they'll find their pod of
Yeah,
people or community, if you will.
absolutely. I
I
mean,
like
it was
pod
through
better than community. It
yoga.
sounds better.
Yeah, I like that. Well, it was through yoga that you and I were brought together.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I was like, yeah, I moved to Florida, and I'm like, geez, I gotta find a tribe, and the universe did bring it to me for sure. I like to
Definitely.
do Reiki. I love to do Reiki. I love to do the Reiki shares that you hold at the Violet Butterfly. My first tribe, if you will, was in New Jersey, and it was through learning Reiki and Reiki shares that I got such a nice community of people.
Nice.
Hmm.
So we've talked about community, and we've talked about Reiki, and even other spiritual practices to help with resilience. Um, I know I joke about your rituals, but they do help you reset and reground and
100%.
rebalance and
Hmm.
start again. So even having something to bring yourself back to, whether it's your rituals. For me, I have nighttime rituals, and they help me get ready to go to bed, which is another whole reset. Without good sleep, you can't be resilient because you don't have all of
Right.
your resources. Um, so even though I
Basically,
poke fun at
you always
you,
need them.
yeah, I have very rigid nighttime rituals.
That's great,
I
though.
just
I mean, we all are drawn to what we need, I believe. If we listen to our inner being, we'll be drawn to what we need.
absolutely, absolutely. So, from your experience, what kinds of things have you noticed throughout like your life? What has helped you be resilient through the ups and the downs?
To focus on, if there's things that are in my experience that are obstacles, a lot of times people are so quick to point to you what you cannot do. So I
Mhm.
try to listen, of course. I'm not going to not listen. I'm going to put a little pin in it, and I'm going to focus and take a look at what I can do,
Mhm.
and focus on how I can clean it up, how I can make a step forward, and go from that aspects. Try and stay positive with it. You keep your eye on the prize, if you want, as to what your outcome that you're looking to make, and then try and take action steps forward. A lot of the law of the attraction work, but also staying positive. A lot of times I've been put into obstacles where they were huge mountains I had to overcome, and I would pull out the tools in the toolbox, affirmations,
Mhm.
things that, of course, meditation goes without saying, yoga, anything that will make me feel better and give me joy, because this is the GPS of how you're vibrating, and really
Mhm.
just live by that. And again, stay to what you can do, not what you can't do. And even if it's just one little thing, take that as a win, and go forward with it.
Sure.
I think
So
that's what I
I'll
would
tell
do.
you, one of the things that I've done lately is try to look at the things that are difficult as opportunities. So because if I'm looking at something as difficult or a barrier, um, it's already like kind of defeating in my head. So I try to look at it like, how can I shift my perspective? And sometimes it is with gratitude, and other times it is literally with, how do I go about what I'm doing differently so that
Hmm.
I can have a different outcome than, oh, this is really hard or this is near impossible.
Yeah, so you don't stay in that momentum of the downhill spiral. I can't, but you look at it from that higher perspective and see what you can learn from it and how you can move forward from it, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And I think that is something that's been like a development over just the last few years for
I
me,
like it.
that it's like, yeah, there are some things that are really like, you feel like you're slogging through the day. But on the other hand, when you can look back at what you've been able to accomplish, it gives you like that reassurance that no matter what is going on, you've been able to make it through the stuff of the past. And the stuff of the past has given you the tools to get through the future.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. We are
So
here to learn and grow.
we are, but that brings up another point that just popped into my head, and I'm just going to go with it. Like the idea of being in the present versus living in the past or worrying about the future.
Hmm.
It's difficult, but when you're in the present, you don't have the bandwidth to worry about what's going to happen. If you can keep your focus on what you can do right now, what I am doing right now, and what my short-term plan is to get from where I am to where I want to be. It's not even I need to
Hmm.
be. I want to be there.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I think there's a time and a place for future planning. Usually that's at some point in time in the day or in the week where you just focus on what
mhm,
it is you want, whether you're 20 half-hour minutes, but during most of the time you should stay present. So I agree with that.
yeah,
And use the moment.
absolutely.
So
So
what do
I'm
you
gonna.
do when do you what do you focus on when you're trying to stay present and finding it challenging? How do you what's your go-to?
So don't laugh at me. It's my breath.
Never, never. Okay.
It's my breath. It's closing down my eyes for a moment and really focusing on what it feels like to inhale and to exhale. That's one of the few tools that I have carried forward from yoga, that it just doesn't fail a person to bring
Mhm.
you like right here, right now, in this body. This is what's happening. And to allow yourself to kind of like let go of the story that's running in your head and just focus
Right.
on that breath.
Stay to put a poke in the wheel, stay present. Yeah.
Yep,
That's good. I
yep,
like it. Something that's always
yeah,
available to you.
it is. Another thing that I like really appreciate, and it's not available all the time, are my cats. My cats will bring me present, um, like nothing else.
Yeah, your pets. I think they're there for us to I think they find us and are there for us on our spiritual journey, our pets. And they come
I
into our
believe
life and
that.
then they leave us when they're done with whatever it is that we were meant to learn with them. And then
Yep.
we get some more somebody else.
Yeah, definitely. What what other tools can we suggest to help bring people into the present?
Well, my usual go-tos, of course, I love the Ho'oponopono. It's something that you can do
Mm,
within your head anytime, anywhere. That works for me. I love burning sage. I like the smell of it, but there's many times that you're in an environment where you just don't have access or you're not allowed to burn some sage. So at that point in time, I I say you always have breath, visualization, and you can say a prayer. So just incorporate that real quick. And our angel cards are best. We use them all the time. And I can give you a laundry list, but you can't always do them at the same time. It
Right.
depends on where you are and what you have available to you. A walk in nature, put your toe in the sea, whatever you can. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the Chopped show on TV. You just open the closet and see what do I have available to me today to put me present. So what's around me that I can use to put me present.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, there have been times in my life where I haven't been able to go for a walk and be present. I'm walking and my brain is still doing all of these crazy acrobatics, and so it takes some discipline to really work with being mindful of being present versus, oh yes, I'm going to go take a walk out by the beach, but I'm still going to let my mind go wild. You have to rein
Yeah.
that in.
And if that doesn't work, just take a nap.
Oh,
Reset.
some of us are overachievers, and that's kind of hard too.
Take a time out. Just go
Yeah,
take a time out. Walk away.
yeah. So
You
it's
gain
funny that you talk.
perspective.
Absolutely. You talk about a nap. So as I was going through school, some of the days were really difficult, physically and mentally. When you're going to school and you've basically got the better part of 6 hours as hands-on other people, it can be a lot for me, it was a lot because I'm sensitive and I'm like trying to figure out how to be in people's personal space and protect my own energy all at the same time. So there were days that I would come home and I was exhausted. So here's something else I brought from my yoga practice. I know you've done this, legs up the wall, where you
Oh yeah,
scoot your
love it.
bottom to the base of the wall, and you have your legs like full up the wall and you rest there. Well, it does a lot for your body as far as like your circulation. It gets your heart moving different, working differently. But instead of laying on the floor with my feet up the wall, what I've been doing is I put my feet up on my couch, so that like I'm on the carpet. I've got my legs, like my thighs here and my feet like on the horizontal part of the couch. That is the best nap I could ever have.
That sounds
It's
good. And
amazing.
is that part of that because you're relieving the pressure off of your back? Like why does that feel so good? Because it really does.
So part of it really is about your circulatory system.
Hmm.
We flipped when we're doing that, we're flipping gravity, right? So most of the time your heart pumps all of your blood, it goes down into your lower extremities, and your movement actually is what helps that return through your veins, right? But
Hmm.
if you're upside down, then basically your blood flow back to your heart and your lungs is that much easier.
Oh, it's another reset. You just reset it upside down instead of
Exactly.
right side up.
And it's funny because that really does like help refresh you on so many levels. But when you're laying
Hmm.
on the floor, you truly have a different perspective on where you are. Even if it's something
Yeah, I'm
silly
sure your
like
cats do too.
exactly, they wander over. Next thing you know, like they're bigger than you are. You know, they're curious about you. Yeah, there's like all kinds of lessons in something like that.
I'm
And
gonna have to try it later. You reminded me. I do like that.
yeah,
That's
no,
great.
that that has helped me tremendously through the 9 months of massage school.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, I think
What other
I think
things
we
have
can
you
also.
found that you've been resilient about like, in your life? If you could pick up another one thing that you've either that or somebody you admire that you've noticed their resilience.
Hmm. You know, when I had my horse Eric, he taught me an awful lot about resilience.
Hmm.
Um, he so as a herd animal, horses pick up on different vibrations and different sensations and all that than we do as, you know, pretty much like predators. So to be able to work with a horse, they teach you so much about your internal workings if you will allow them to mirror to you the kinds of vibes you're putting off.
Sure.
He taught me a lot. Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. And if I can say, probably the most resilient person I know is my husband.
Okay. That's nice. You
Yeah,
can respect that about him, you know.
absolutely. You know,
I'm going to pull a
he
card
has
for us.
okay, yeah, he has like his own rituals of things that help him be resilient, you know, physically and mentally and emotionally. Like for him, it's a ritual of going to the gym every day and working out every single morning before he goes to work. So there's
Hmm.
something like that that can help.
Yeah. So the resilience and discipline and routine kind of are going hand in hand in some of these instances. It's some of that we're referencing. So I
Absolutely.
don't know
Yep.
how this card. I'm not sure if it really kind of how it works into this, but I'll read
Okay.
it anyway.
All
It's
right.
the Page of Earth card. It's a beautiful card because it's a fairy tarot card deck, the angel deck. It's not fairies, it's angel deck, but she's a
Okay.
fairy. She's got little wings on her. And
Okay.
it says, good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. Well, I guess we have been talking about, you know, you're finishing the studies of your massage school. And this is a new opportunity to bring more abundance into your life that we know of,
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to do something more challenging. So, the feeling I get from this is opportunity. That's what I get, and I don't just mean that for you and for me, but the feeling I feel about this for the collective is that there's always room for opportunity and growth, and that if
Yep.
people continue to set their eye on the prize and they use their resilience, they can get there. So it's a feeling of hope, and you know, get your new areas of study and go for it, you know.
Well, and that kind of goes along with the card that I pulled earlier that is joy is the ultimate creator. So if you can
Nice.
find, you know, that sometimes it's just that spark of hope or gratitude, because when you're in the process of being resilient, it's not always easy to be joyful, but
Hmm.
something like hope or gratitude is a seed for joy and creation. So
Well said. Yes, it is. Yeah, just keep your eye on the prize and just keep going one foot in front of the other. So think about
definitely.
it. Like I'm sure there's times you can say, where was I a year ago? Where was I 2 years ago? And where am I today? And look at the different progress and things that you've achieved in that period of time. I guess we can all do that, you know, from wherever you're listening from, and be proud of yourself
Absolutely.
that you have made these changes, you know.
Yep.
And if there's things that you want to increase on and do better, that's fine. We'll just know that it's available.
Yep.
You can get there from here.
You absolutely
One of
can.
the resilience I've seen was people who are dealing with illness. Like my brother is the one I think of first off. He passed away from AIDS in 1995. But when he was going through his illness, he stayed very positive, even though things weren't easy for him. And I remember he was a funny guy. And one time I had a conversation with him, and he says, "You know, I'm really lucky." He says, "I weathered this storm very, very well, because a lot of people who had that disease, they would go blind or they would have other ailments that would come up, and he still was able to see and all that stuff that he had going
Uh-huh.
on. So he always looked at what he had and what he was appreciative for, and it kind of helped him live longer than he was supposed to at that time, because that was before that they had come up with medication to help people live with
Hmm.
AIDS. So it was
Yeah.
during that time. But he had a great sense of humor and a great attitude about his illness, even though it wasn't easy for him. But if I think back to when we were children together,
Hmm.
he always said to me, "I know I'm not going to live a long life." He knew it. He knew it back when he was a kid.
Wow.
That's kind of interesting. This kind of popped up in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Something
Mhm.
popped into my head as you were talking. Um, a point in my life when my career ended in the corporate world, and how initially I was like, what are you talking about? I was being laid off. And like, that's all I knew for almost 30 years. But it gave me this great opportunity to start something brand new. And it was the violet butterfly, and
The
maybe
death and rebirth.
that, yeah, and maybe that's why I have maybe a different outlook on some of the challenges that we have or that we're presented with.
Oh, yeah. When one door closes, another opens. It's for sure.
Yeah. Um, so I picked another card, and this is the Four of
Okay.
Wands, and this is all about taking time to celebrate our victories. So I believe earlier
Okay. Love it.
you pulled the victory card.
I
So
did. I did pull the victory
yeah,
card. We're in such different locations with different sets of cards, and we pulled two or three similars.
yeah,
That's so funny.
it's yeah, I love it. So I think that all of what we're talking about is right on point, and it can be really helpful for, a reminder to ourselves and to others that no matter what it is that, is a challenge, you know, there are some things that can help. Community, our, your pod or bigger community, having some tools to help you, whether it's spiritual practices of being mindful and present and meditation, or our rituals of our sacred baths, whatever it happens to
Yeah.
be. There are things
And
that can
if none of
do.
those appeal to you, make your own.
Absolutely.
What
But
brings you joy?
joy and gratitude, totally.
Sometimes if I don't have access, I'll have Alexa play some music, some uplifting music. That sometimes helps.
Okay, that's a good one. Music is really powerful, that whole sound vibration that can
Hmm.
literally change what's happening inside of you. Good.
Those crystal bowls, I love them.
Yeah,
And I listen sometimes to Native American drums. I think those can be very powerful.
sure. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
So I think we have I have I think there's a full moon coming up next week. I think there's two this
There
month.
there is another one coming up. I think we just had
Hmm.
our new moon this week, so week and a half or so, we'll have a full moon.
Hmm.
Yep. Do you already have ideas of what your ritual is going to be for this one?
Maybe walking in it, probably. Just walking
Okay.
in it and enjoying observing it. I, I don't know if I'll have a chance to howl depending on where I'm at.
Will you be traveling between locations?
I will. I'll be traveling. Yeah, I'll be
Okay.
I'll be up there. So I'll be coming back to US
All right.
during that time. So I think it's the 30th and 31st. I'm pretty sure
That's
is when
what I'm thinking, but
Yeah.
I don't trust my brain right now. All
But yeah,
right.
definitely. Well, I think this has been a good topic. Is there anything else you want to share about that, or
I
should
I
we?
don't I don't think I have anything else to share, but I do encourage our listeners to, leave us comments or questions and about resilience or any other topic that you're interested in. we're happy to explore from our experiences whatever it is that we can talk
Absolutely.
about that will help.
Yeah. So leave us a comment. We look forward to hearing from you. Hope you have a great time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you for listening. We'd love to hear from you about your experiences. Leave us a comment below. You can find more information about Lisa and her offerings on her website, 2communicate.net. Michelle's shop is the Violet Butterfly Metaphysical Healing Center in Palm Harbor, Florida. You can find more information at thevioletbutterflymhc.com, including the online store.